Joe and Adam here with the Tango Alpha Lima podcast, and we're here with Miss Alma. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm First Lieutenant Alma Cooper. I'm the reigning Miss USA 2024, and I'm really excited to be here.
I like the word reigning. It sounds strong. Like, do you do it with an iron fist?
Reigning.
Yes. Nice.
Well, Alma, tell us a little bit about your time at West Point and what the Army-Navy game means to you, especially from the cadet perspective.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's super unique because as a cadet, you go to all 4 games during your 4 years at the academy, and you wear that wool gray uniform. You march out there. Sometimes it's snowing. Sometimes your hat's about to blow off. I mean, it's really unique, and it's super special because you're gonna only do it 4 more times, 4 times in your whole time at the academy, and then every other time you go to the game, if you decide to go, you'll be on the other side of things. So it's really neat, and it's really special to now come back as a grad and be able to just celebrate all that both academies, really stand for, which is service.
So, what's it like being, instead of Miss USA, it's ma'am. Right? So what's it like sort of stepping into that? Because, I'm sure that it actually, inside the military, causes more problems than there is any possible benefit you could get from it, right? And you don't have to really dive into anything like that. We're not trying to do that, but I'm just saying, I think it's really great that you have been able to find a way to reach out to so many young women in the world to say, hey, you can serve and still be a lady, and then also be kind of a badass at the same time, So what's that like to sort of balance that in your own life, and what does that look like? And do you realize that you are an influence on people that may not be even something that you've really sat down and had time to think about?
Well, I always say that the only limits that you face are the ones that you accept, and that if you can see me, you can be me. And so whatever it is that you're passionate about, for me it's service and giving back to others. I've tried to do that in academia. I'm a 2023 recipient of the Knight Misty Scholarship. There's nearly 10,000 applicants around the world and 84 recipients in my year, and I'm the youngest recipient in history. So for me, there really is no limit that you can face that I can't overcome. And I think that your work ethic and your character defines you, not the accolades that you accumulate in your life. And so to lead us to serve, and for me to be a graduate of the United States Military Academy, I'm committed to being a leader of character and representing what that means as Miss USA and as First Lieutenant Cooper.
Well, I think that's so beautiful, and it is such a beautiful message, and it's a needed message, especially for our young women. I have a 14-year-old and a 7-year-old daughter at home, and my youngest won her little Miss Malvern pageant. And I had no idea about the pageant world, and I was so surprised at how it started to instill service projects that she had to do, and how she got affirmation for doing something for others, and even at such a young age, being able to instill that. And so having someone like you for them to look up to is so meaningful for me, having come from the military and then seeing how you balance those two. Can you tell us a little bit about what your journey was like to Miss USA? And that was also competing the same time you were a cadet too, right?
Well, I actually decided to compete in Miss USA, or compete for the title or the opportunity to go to Miss USA in January of this year, and I graduated in May of 2020.
Okay.
So I was actually at Stanford during my first year of grad school, and during my first year of grad school, I decided to be a cheerleader at Stanford. So I was cheering, earning my master's, and deciding to pursue a childhood dream of becoming Miss USA. And again, the only limits that you face is what you accept. So I know that in academia, it's talking a lot about resilience, it's talking a lot about grit, and also time management, partially also because of West Point.
And there's so many wonderful things. They're really big, they're really ambitious. Where does it all come from? We were talking a little bit before about what your names mean. I think maybe we got a little sense of it, but where does this drive come from, and who are you doing all this for?
I'd definitely say it comes from my family. My mother was a migrant worker in the Beaches, Idaho at the age of 6. And the only way out of that situation for her was to run her way to Division I track scholarship. And my dad served 24 years in the service as an armor officer. So growing up, I never really had the opportunity to say I can't. My parents, always would tell me that whatever it is that you grow, become, do, it's possible with a lot of hard work. And I think that it's manifested itself in a lot of ways in my life. But I hope to be a role model to that whatever it is that you're looking to do in your life is possible.
Well, you definitely exude the character. You definitely exude the grit. And I love that the most interesting thing about you is where you came from and what you want to do in the future. And this other stuff is great, and it's a way to reach out to some awesome people. but the amount of work that you put in shows, and I can see your passion. And I know that you mentioned, when we were talking, before you mentioned, wanting to use the knowledge that you're gaining in school to maybe address something like food insecurity or something like that. And I just want to say that as somebody who has been a foster parent and stuff like that if you were able to ever do anything like that, to be able to leverage your knowledge or something like that, to reach out to these young women and young men who are going through really tough life situations. I mean, your leadership in the military is one thing, but to be a leader to people who have nothing to offer you is a beautiful thing. And I love to see your heart is in that direction. It means so much.
Well, one of the things I would be interested to know is, with so many things on your plate, how do you maintain a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual balance? What's kind of the practice that you have with so many high-demand things pulling at your attention?
I love running. I think that running is a metaphor for life. I mean, my mom was a track star, so I always feel like running has always been an outlet for me. And the one thing that I think is really unique about running is that no matter how fast or slow you're going, forward is always forward, and you're getting a little bit closer to that finish line. And also, I mean, in October I ran the Chicago Marathon. It was my first marathon, and at one point I didn't think I didn't know if I could do it or not with all the demands of the military and also Miss USA. But the only limits you face are the ones that you accept, and to be able to run that, it set my mind to run all 7 Abbott World Marathons. I'm hoping to run the New York City Marathon next year. But again, running is so unique because every pro athlete, pro racer, elite runner, amateur, whoever stage you're at in running, everyone starts and finishes at the same place. And so I think, again, that's a metaphor for life, that forward is always forward, regardless of the pace.
Well, one of my favorite running analogies was always Roger Bannister in the 4-minute mile, which was thought to be impossible until it was broken.
Exactly.
And then it was like that gave everybody else permission. And so I think, as I think about it too, it's like, I don't have to be bound by what the world says. If I can think it and I can make that action and that choice and move forward with it, then I can set a new record for humanity and be able to do that.
For sure. And I think it's consistent with the Army's motto, be all you can be, to continue to look for ways that you can be of service to others. I mean, there's over 200 career paths in the Army, and so there's so many different ways that people can look for an opportunity to serve the United States Army.
Well, what would you say to the youth, specifically females, and as they're coming up, and the potential to be able to go to West Point or even like do ROTC like I did, but ultimately stepping into a leadership role in the Army? What's that been for you? What would you say to them?
Well, again, I would say if you can see me, you can be me. There's so many ways that you can be of service to others. And for me, being able to serve both in a uniform and also as Miss USA is really deeply humbling. But I hope that people know that there's something in the military for everyone. There's 200 career paths. So, and whatever your passion is with cybersecurity, you're a math nerd like myself, there's always a way that you can be of service to others.
It's funny, I think that we've hit a point in society where nerds are finally cool. I mean, we've waited, it was not fun when I was growing up.
Really cool.
Yeah, it makes me really happy, growing up being the kid that read fantasy novels and played D&D, but also, played football and wrestled, and it was very, very physical growing up. It didn't feel like there was a space for that. And I think that where we're at now, the military that you're in right now recognizes the mental health struggles of being a young person in this world today. And I think that's an addition to what, to the military as a whole. And I think that having people like you that can be leaders in not just in the military, as a rank leader, but also to be a leader of character. Is that what you said earlier? To be a leader of character is something that we desperately need. We need people to look up to people and say that not only can you serve while you're in the military, no matter where you come from, but also when you get out, there's things that you can do, whether it's podcasting, whether it's getting involved in pageantry or teaching others, or getting involved with people that are not privileged with food insecurity and things like that. You're definitely showing, what your family came from and what you can do in the future. I think that's incredible.
Well, I'll tell you one more thing that we need, and that's an Army win.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if we need it or so much as it's just going to happen. What are your predictions?
Wow, like an inevitable thing now?
Look, I had to, when I was in school and in the military and everybody talked about Army, Navy, I had to watch Navy beat Army like 15 years in a row.
That's fair. He's bitter.
So I am so excited that we are good and winning. What are your predictions, if any, on the score, on the game?
I'm just excited for an Army win. That's all
That's
I can
right.
say.
Yeah.
So where can we go to find out more about you? We'd love to follow your journey. Do you got some social media that we can learn about?
All I can say is go to goarmy.com to look for a career service.
Nice.
I love that.
Hey, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much, Alma. You're a true inspiration, and you're the type of leader that I want my daughters to look up to, not what Hollywood is pushing and promoting. So
That's
thank
really
you
kind.
for being a leader that they can look up to.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys.